going on, guys? Welcome back, and this is the first day I have been home from Chicago, and let's talk a little bit, more than a little bit, let's talk quite a bit about my experience. The title of this video is going to be Pokemon Go Fest Chicago, the good, the bad, and the absolute ugly. And trust me, there was a moment there where it got very ugly. I honestly don't even know where to start this video at whatsoever. So I guess I'm just gonna start ranting and showing you clips of what happened while we were there. Let's start with the good. This is probably gonna be the shortest one of the three segments, but let's go ahead and start with the good. I got to meet almost every Pokemon Go YouTuber that is big on the YouTube platform, which was awesome. Straight Up Knives was absolutely awesome. What are you looking forward to the most out of this event today?
Catching my third Pokemon.
Oh.
Because I've caught two so far.
You're about two ahead of me because I can't get signed in.
Okay, well then I hope you catch your first.
We did see Trainer Tips and Mystic.
Glad you guys all got it.
Mystic 7!
A couple thousand people here.
And if you did not see my last video, Reversal photobombed me in the middle of my very first Lugia raid. So that was awesome too.
Oh my god, Reversal! Holy Reversal, man! Oh my god, Reversal! What? Thanks, Ryan.
Another good thing that came out of the event was I caught my very first Heracross. There's a huge crowd. What's going on? Hurry up, guys! What is it? What is it?
What is it?
Heracross? No! I can't even get in! I'm in and it's frozen.
Wait. Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Yes, there it. Yes.
Ah, yes!
Come on.
Get on him. Yes!
Yes!
I think I have my bug badge, so I'll help out a little bit. Are you kidding me? What's going on here? Please start moving. I also caught quite a few unknown, and it was cool to see everybody rush around the stages or certain sections when the unknown would spawn, and the same thing with the Heracross. So all the rare Pokemon that you were able to actually be signed into the game and catch, it was exciting when the crowds and the mobs started forming for that. Damn it, we shouldn't have had them pile up. Now I can't even load. And another good thing about the events was, what else was good about this event? I guess another good thing that came out of the event was I was able to catch a ton of Articuno and a ton of Lugia, because since they messed up so bad, they released Lugia and Articuno, which it was only supposed to be Articuno, but they did release Lugia also. But it wasn't just at Grant Park. It was a pretty good radius around Chicago that got to see Lugia and Articuno spawn. But one of the last things that was good from the event was a personal thing. My girlfriend and I enjoyed walking around Chicago. She's never been there before, so I got to show her a few different things. We went to the Bean. We didn't get to do as much as we wanted to do because we sat at the event all day long waiting for something to happen, and nothing did. Now let's go ahead and move on to the bad segment, because the good segment is, it is over. For the most part. I'll kind of do a recap at the end and add maybe a little bit more that was good. The bad things. Let's start off with the morning. I got there around 8 a.m. I had friends that were waiting in line prior to that. So we got there early enough that we got in the gates at a decent time, but I know a lot of people had issues with the line. This is why I'm putting it in the bad category, because I did not get to experience this. I'm sure this is the ugly part for a lot of people. But the gates were supposed to open at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. We were probably within the first 150 people in line, and they did not start letting people in until about 10:25. So we're already almost a half an hour behind schedule before they start letting in the first customers that didn't have the 1 hour early pass. By the time my group and my girlfriend and I got in, it was about 11 o'clock. Mind you, the challenge windows were supposed to start at 11 o'clock. Once we get in the gate, my girlfriend and I take our QR codes, spin a stop, scan the QR code so it'll recognize that we're finally in the Chicago Fest event, and we make our way to the stage. Once we get to the stage, they bring out a blonde gal who was probably 5 or 10 Red Bulls in by this time. Or maybe she's just a really peppy personality. I get it. I get excited for Pokemon Go and Pokemon in general, but she did not seem like she had a grip of what the game actually even meant. But like I said, I don't want to judge. I know a lot of people complained about her, but we'll leave it as it is.
Get up, get out, catch those Pokemon! Let's unlock that mystery challenge!
After she gets done welcoming everybody to the stage, which that was not everybody, because there were people waiting in line still for another 3 hours. I know there was people waiting outside until 1 o'clock trying to get into this event. And by the time they got in, technically 2 challenge windows should have already been done. But by the time they got in at 1 o'clock, we had found out by 12:30 that this game is not going to work. So no one was catching Pokemon, no one was able to even log in, but that's not a part of the bad. We're gonna save more of that for the ugly, because it got ugly. So I'm glad I didn't get to experience the whole line deal, but let's keep moving. So once they had welcomed everybody in, they sent it off to John Hankey for him to come out and say, hey, welcome Pokemon Go players, thank you for playing my game, blah, 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 but nothing had even gone bad yet, and he got booed so badly, so hard, I could not believe it.
The CEO of Niantic, Mr. John Hankey.
Did Niantic deserve to be booed this early in the day? Probably not, but they do have a pretty bad past with their community, so I don't know. Whatever happened, happened. So that will go under the bad, but there are a few more bad things before we get to the ugly, so let's keep it moving. Oh, quick, one good thing that I did miss was the setup was nice. The team tents were full with their team. There were charging stations, and the challenge events actually did coordinate to certain spots of the park. So if you wanted to catch a bunch of grass type Pokemon, you would hang out in the far left corner and it'd be only grass. And then if you went in the far right corner, it was only rock. So that was a good part of the event. But again, you would need to be able to log in to do these things. So maybe it wasn't a good part of the event. Now, another thing they could have been a little bit more prepared for was the weather. I know Niantic cannot control the weather. Knowing that it was going to rain, they should have prepared the grass a little bit more. Everything was mud. Everything was mud. I umpire baseball. When they know it's going to rain and there's going to be a group of people at these ball fields, for the people that are showing up to these baseball games, the audience, they will go in and poke the grass outside of the baseball field so all of the water drains or goes down into the ground, so it's just not a big old mud pig flop fest, because it was muddy. A couple other things they should have done for this event is to have more activities that did not pertain to the app, because we all know the app didn't work. The only other extracurricular activity that they had was for young kids, and it was like the Velcro suit and they jump up against like a Velcro wall. That's about it. So other than the Velcro suit thing that the kids could do, they had the team tents, which was cool. The team tents were cool, and there were charging stations there. And the only other things to do at the event, other than the Velcro thing and the tents, was to wait in line at Boost Mobile and Sprint while they try to sell you on a cell phone plan, and they give you like a little patch with your trainer level on it. That's it. There were no other activities at the event. They did have meet and greets with the YouTubers, but they were only like an hour long, and I don't know. Mystic 7 was running around meeting everybody. I know you had to go to like a booth to meet, I think, trainer tips and maybe reversal. So with that being said, those were mainly the bad things about the event. But without further ado, let's get into what you came here for. Okay, where do I start here? Let's just start with the main reason everything went downhill. That was trying to load into the game that we came here to play.
Well, for the entire community for the Pokemon Go YouTube side is here. We got Lachlan, Trader, Test Benson, Reversal, Straight Up Knives, Flash with Cam, Naked Knight are both here as well. They've done the Pokemon Go too. So we've got the YouTube community here in full effect today, which is awesome. It's fun.
The one thing that everyone came to do did not work for over half of the people. And if it did work for you, it didn't work all day long. It didn't work for extended periods of time. It worked for about 5 minutes if you were lucky, and then it got shut down. Let's keep moving on with some ugly because you already knew the game didn't work. So throughout the day, they tried to keep everybody informed. Well, after people were complaining, they tried to keep everyone informed of what was coming up next or how they were going to fix the game, and they would send one guy out and people would boo him.
There's 3 issues that we are tackling right now. One is a network issue. One of the providers is trying to pump in some more bandwidth, so that's something that we're working with them closely on. The other 2 issues are on the Niantic side. There's a crash bug issue that we've identified. I know some of you have had that issue, as well as an authentication issue. So we've got it completely pinpointed to those 3 things. We're working on it. We will give you an update as we get closer to getting that fixed. The other thing I wanted to remind everybody of, though, is that I know that Heracross is out there. Unknowns are out there. They will be spawning throughout the day. So I know it's frustrating if you're having one of those issues, and we do apologize for that. But they will be spawning throughout the event into the early evening until the event ends. So we're quite hopeful that you'll have that opportunity if you're being affected by the issues. And most importantly, more updates to follow. As soon as we're direct line backstage with the engineering team who's working it, and we'll keep you updated on status. So thank you for your patience. Thank you. That's right. Thanks, guys.
As they began to inform people, it was starting to look like there was never going to be a solution for this. I remember when they informed us at 2 o'clock that they were still working on the servers and they were coming up with a fix and reaching out to the cell phone companies to get more bandwidth. And I remember looking at my friend and saying, this event started 4 hours ago. There's no way they're gonna have a quick fix for this anytime soon. It would have been fixed already if they were going to have a quick fix for this. The amount of hate that they got from this event was not only caused because the game was not working, but it was because they were putting false hope into everybody that, yes, eventually it'll be up, yes, we're working so hard, yes, we're doing everything we can, you'll be able to get on and play very shortly. And that is not where the ugly stops. We are just getting started. Another ugly thing that happened at the event was half of the event was pretty much just shut down. It was just shut down. And by that I mean we had challenge windows that we had to complete, I believe at 11 to 11:30, 12 to 12:30, and 3 to 3:30, with the mystery challenge coming between 6 and 7 o'clock. Well, guess what? We tried for the first challenge window, and it was an epic fail because no one could get on. So they never even announced when the second challenge window even started, and if they did, I must have missed it, but I know damn well they did not announce the third challenge window. So they pretty much gave up on challenges for us players to do because they knew the game wasn't working. But in each team tent, they had a huge TV that had a progression bar that showed you how close you were getting to finishing a challenge, and by 3 o'clock, we were maybe an eighth of the way, if that. But they sent the blonde host back out later in the day, and she announced around, I think I want to say 4 or 5 o'clock, that we finished all of the challenges. All the challenges are done. We have finally completed all of the challenges. No, we did not. I know damn well no one even came close to finishing these challenges, and there's no way we went from 5% done to 100% done within an hour, and I couldn't even believe it. Now let's get back to a couple hours prior to this whole entire "we won all these awards" girl came out. My friend and I were sitting in a corner of the park where we could get our game to kind of work. Again, this was not related to cell phone service whatsoever because I had 4 bars and 4G. It was the game servers. No matter what they tell you, It was the game servers. But as we were sitting there, we noticed that on our nearby, there was an unknown that actually spawned right outside of the park. So I looked at him, he looked at me, and we left the park for about 10 minutes, and we caught an unknown out there, which I thought was strange because why would it spawn outside of the park? So as we came back in, we kind of sat around for a little bit, and then we noticed another couple unknown spawning outside of the park.
Okay, we left the park. The park's over there. We're going across the street to catch an unknown that's actually not inside of Grant Park. Actually, somewhere where some cell phone service might work too. Looks like everybody left the park for this unknown. Probably because they know it'll actually be able to be caught out here.
And I was wondering what in the world was going on because we're inside of Grant Park. This is where the unknown are supposed to be. So this was about at noon that we started noticing all of these unknowns spawning outside of the park. Anyways, they came on to do another announcement around maybe 4 o'clock, and they said a bunch of different stuff, and everybody booed again, and the guy walked off stage, and then he came back on stage maybe a minute later and forgot to say one of the biggest things that happened at the event that could have saved so much, and I mean so much, more complaints from people, but I don't know how they forgot to say this. Oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that we extended the spawns from Grant Park to a 2-mile radius all the way around Grant Park. So feel free to leave the park and get the same spawns outside of the park. Looking back at the event, I'm pretty pissed off that it took them so long to tell us that. We thought it was just a rare occurrence that they were spawning out there, or that they just stretched maybe a corner of the park too far, the unknowns were spawning outside of the park. I would have spent my whole entire day seeing Chicago, seeing Lake Michigan, seeing downtown Chicago, instead of sitting inside of a muddy Grant Park. They should have told us way earlier that this was going to happen outside of the park, and I don't understand why they did not. The first sign of trouble, they should have done this. They should have spread it out all the way through Chicago, because staying in Grant Park in the humidity, in the mud and the heat and all the people waiting for a legendary raid that never even happened, that's not how I want to spend my time in Chicago. Me and a couple friends and my girlfriend were sitting in the grass type area, because if we were to catch Pokemon, we wanted it to be the grass type Pokemon so we can get the double Stardust for 48 hours. But instead of finding Pokemon in there, because our phones weren't working that well, we found 2 event planners, well, 2 people that were working for the event inside of the grass corner, and we were kind of eavesdropping on what was going on. So one of the workers had a walkie-talkie on him, and we heard a gal come over the walkie-talkie, and mind you, again, this is almost at 5 o'clock, but what we heard from this woman over this guy's radio was, there will be no legendary raid tonight. Once the event ends, get everybody out as fast as possible. Do not let them linger around. There will be no legendary raid tonight. And I'm not gonna lie to you, my heart friggin' dropped once I heard that. I looked at my friend Matt and my girlfriend, and I was like, did you guys just hear that? And Matt said, I cannot believe I just heard that. So this whole time we were supposed to be getting a legendary raid, legendary Pokemon, and they were not releasing them at the event. Like I said, we heard this around 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, okay? We weren't planning on leaving the event until 7 because we thought there'd be a legendary raid. They said that they spread it out the spawns in a 2-mile radius. We weren't gonna leave yet because we thought we're staying for the raid, we're not going to miss it. Our challenge window is from 6 to 7. And the 6 to 7 challenge window never came. 6:45 came though, 15 minutes before the event ended, and people started crowding and screaming at the front of the stage where they were making all of the big announcements. And the blonde gal came out again and pretty much said, hey, thanks for all the positivity and thanks for coming to our event. We'll see you next year.
You suck! John Hackey!
I want to see
But it's because because no one has it yet. I think it sucks walking out of here feeling unaccomplished. They announced that it's over and Articuno will show up sometime in the next 48 hours. That's it.
Oh, great.
That's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. So much for driving 5 hours for like 5 unknowns. Well, that's okay, we got a hair cross, I guess. Let's go eat some of this famous Chicago pizza though.
My bad, my camera just died, so I had to switch to this camera. They didn't even announce to everybody that there would not be a legendary raid until like the end of the event. I mean, if you're going to try to, you know, diffuse the situation, don't make us waste our time for something that was promised to us when we bought a ticket. They should have announced to everybody way earlier in the day that, hey, there's no legendary raid, our game's not working. Instead of giving people false hope, which I was dumb enough to fall into, but giving people false hope that the game was finally going to be fixed and that everybody was going to be able to hit this legendary raid. But instead, what they're going to do is give us $100 in Pokecoins, $100 worth of Pokecoins. So I would say that's the $99 package on the store, which is $14,500. They will refund us 4-hour tickets, which is still ugly. Why would you ever have to refund people for their tickets for an event that was planned months ahead? And they are also putting Lugia inside of our Pokedex. Now, I don't know how they're going to do that, because if you are in Chicago right now or you were over the weekend, they made every legendary raid a 100% catch rate. So if you battled an Articuno and took it down, or you battled a Lugia and took it down, you would be able to catch it with 1 Pokeball. So everyone was pineapping every single Lugia and every single Articuno. So I am hoping that that is not how they're going to give us our free Lugia, because I know people that left and went home early before the Lugia raids and the Articuno raids actually started happening. The legendary raids started happening about, I would say, half an hour after the events ended, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not too sure. They got everybody out of there, didn't announce any legendary raids, sent everybody home. So we went and got food, and next thing you know, there was Lugia that popped up on our nearby raids. But we were waiting to get our food, and we had to leave, because why would we want to skip out on a legendary raid? So, I don't know. This event was an absolute disaster, but we did finally get our Lugia and our Articuno. They were only planning on having Articuno at the event, but only put Lugia out there as kind of a crowd control or a diffuser. So that was my experience at Pokemon Go Fest Chicago. Let me know yours in the comment section down below if you went. Am I going next year? Well, I can't say no, because I at the end of the day, I did have fun in Chicago. It was nice meeting other players from other countries, other states, other cities. It was nice meeting all those people. And yeah, we did bitch a lot together, which was kind of strange. We all just kind of gathered and bitched, you know, together as a group. But I did get to meet a lot of cool people, and I did get to meet a lot of people that I would have never met because of this event. So will I go next year? Yes, I probably will go next year. But let's hope next year they actually figure out what the hell they're doing. I kind of sound like an ass for saying that I'll go again, but my girlfriend and I had fun in Chicago, whether the event was shit or not. We had fun just being together in the park and seeing new sights together, and going to Wrigley games. So gave us an excuse to go to Chicago. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for all the ranting and all the complaining. I will have vlogs up from the fest, so you can kind of see what we went through. There were a few segments in here, but I have so much footage that we're going to put a couple vlogs together for you. And yeah, that's all for me. Thank you for watching. I have been your host, Beans and Rice. And as always, I hope you have a great day. Hopefully a better day than everybody had in Chicago this past weekend, which would be pretty hard to beat how bad their day was. Or my day was too. So thank you for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.